I'm not happy about it, but it was the smart thing to do. And do we have to change how we vote? Maybe. Do we have to change who we vote for as far as third parties? Maybe. But you're going to have to drag people kicking and screaming. And when you have people like unions that have been out there that are established for a long time, the United Auto Workers will get behind a candidate who said the internal combustion engine should be a thing of the past. And they give the auto workers the day off with pay. They're more or less saying, here's your reward. Now go vote for Al Gore, right? They're essentially buying your vote. And I've talked to more than a few auto workers who said, you know what? I took the day off with pay and went and voted for George W. Bush. But the unions, a lot of people just follow what the union... What was that? Look for the union label. A lot of people just say, if it ain't made in the USA, I ain't buying it. If it ain't union made, I ain't buying it. I ain't doing this, I ain't doing that. And this is ingrained ever since they were a young person. It ain't going to change. It's not going to change. It's not going to change for a long time. Let's concentrate and focus on trying to find two people to run the next time that will be thrilled one way or another. That you can be thrilled and happy about your vote, not just thinking, oh, well, gee, I gotta hold my nose and vote. Robert, you're on the big one.
Hello?
Howdy.
Hi, Rick.
Yeah.
Couple of points. Clinton is a divider. He pits the employer against the employee. The job provider is hated by the employees because of the policies. Do you know the name Darrell Green?
I don't. Refresh my memory.
Okay, Darrell Green is an African-American that Clinton sent his name in to be chief of staff of Air Force. Clinton could have picked, there's hundreds and hundreds of qualified black or African-American pilot and Air Force people that could have been the chief of staff of the Air Force, but Clinton picked one that had questionable credentials, knowing that the white Congress and Senate would not confirm him. He didn't pick somebody that would fly through with flying colors. He picked somebody that was selling Avon on the, and he had 2 tail landings where he damaged. I watched C-SPAN on this, and Clinton was a master of that. The federal judge, there was a Mexican or Spanish American that he appointed to federal judge in Texas.
Was this Darrell Green the same Darrell Green that was the cornerback for the Redskins?
I can't tell you if that's true or not.
Okay, just thought I'd ask.
I would doubt, but he was a high official in the Air Force, but not because he had blemishes. Clinton picked him instead of somebody that would have been confirmed in a heartbeat. But in the meantime, the other example is the Spanish man in Texas that he appointed to the federal bench, and the man had a Harvard degree, a doctorate degree, and judicial, but he didn't have experience. So it made Clinton look like, oh, he loves the Spanish people, but these white congressmen and Senate would not vote for the Spanish man to be on the federal bench because of not lack of education, but lack of experience.
Oh, I understand. Robert. Yes.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, and I understand that the Democrats work on division on a regular basis. It's black against white. It's poor against rich. It's disenfranchised voters against those who did get their vote in. Right. And when you start playing that kind of politics, it does not do anything to help race relations. And yet most of the folks that I talk to that call this radio station say they're intelligent enough. No matter what color we are, we're intelligent enough to see that it's baloney. It's beans baloney, it's hogwash, it's a smoke screen, and it's trying to divide, and that doesn't do us any good as a nation.
I was raised in the South, and my parents wanted us to, we wanted African-American people to like us. In other words, because we were Southern, there was a stigma against us because we were white.
Right.
But we were raised in a Christian tradition, to love the black, to love whoever our neighbor was, and I grew up like that. But here's Clinton, who's supposedly a Baptist. He waves his Bible people on C-SPAN, but yet he would divide, and he would appoint somebody knowing that this man would not be confirmed. If he should have picked a African American, it could have been confirmed in a second, but he chose rather to divide again.
Yes, I understand. I don't care what color you are. Dumb is dumb, man. That's just dumb. If you try and impress, I have to imagine that there are African Americans out there who say, see what happened? The whiteys in Congress wouldn't push through a black man, and Hispanic people saying, see, look what happened? All the white people in Congress wouldn't appoint a Hispanic man, but yet it somehow makes Bill Clinton look good. Here's something that makes Bill Clinton look bad. 5 years ago, the first group of U.S. Marines arrived in the Bosnian capital of Sarajevo to join NATO forces sent to enforce peace in former Yugoslavia. They weren't supposed to be there very long now, were they? Wasn't that rumored that they were going over there and that they were only going to be there a couple of weeks and they'd be home by Christmas? This from December 10th of 1995? Been there a long time, huh? Some commander-in-chief. Channel 3 weather from Marshall McPeak. Tonight, rain, snow, 28 for a low. Overnight, that'll change tomorrow to rain, then back to snow tomorrow night. High of 38, currently 33 in Cleveland, 33. Keep it tuned right here to Wills, Webster, and Coleman every weekday morning from 5 to 9 a.m. They'll keep you up to speed on what's going on with Channel 3 weather and Sky Chief helicopter traffic. There, I didn't flub it. With Rick Abel flying around up there every 10 minutes on the 10s. You're on the line, be patient, I'll get to you.
This time, the closest presidential election in history is being broadcast live. Continuing in-depth team coverage of the 2000 vote on News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Hi, this is Doug Deacon for Diamonds and Christian St. John Stores for Men. As a professional, I enjoy dealing with professionals, and that's why when I'm out buying clothes, I usually go to the clothing professionals, Diamonds and Christian St. John. I really do. I prefer their stores not only for their great service, but also for the tremendous selection in all sizes. Hey, let's face it, if they can fit me in double XL and sweaters, press slacks, no, they're not double XL, but outer coats, actually anything I need, they can probably fit you. And the people taking care of you make shopping a lot of fun. Chris Dallos at Christian St. John Great Northern is a real pro, and he seems to know what I like more than I do. Now, during the beautiful holiday season is a perfect time to give Diamonds a shot. So if you're living the west side like I do, you can go to Great Northern, Parmatown, or even Sandusky Mall. This is Doug Deacon wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thanks, Doug, and that goes for me, too. And, Doug, remember, life is like a scooter car. Not much happens unless you do some pedaling. This is Norm Diamond, and thanks so much for listening.
Keep Cleveland's children warm this winter. Dig into your closet. Dig into your wallet. Give to Coats for Kids. Officially underway now through the end of the year. Drop off a new or gently worn coat at any Northeast Ohio Dry Clean USA, Smythe Kramer, or at the mall, Beechwood Place, Euclid Square Mall, Midway Mall, and Parmatown Mall. Click on a complete donation location list at WTAM.com. Mail a donation to Coats for Kids, P.O. Box 74767, Cleveland 44194. Coats for Kids. Keep us warm. From Andy Chevrolet, the Salvation Army, WKYC, and News Radio, WTAM 1100.
The Major League Baseball winter meeting.
Wheeling and dealing without the safety of a salary cap.
Get in-depth team coverage with 2020 Sports and Indians beat reporter Mark Schwab live from Dallas.
Total Tribe coverage.
News Radio WTAM 1100.
You probably already know that Discount Drug Mart is the store that saves you the runaround. Now you can let Discount Drug Mart, Kronheim's Furniture, and Best Buy entertain you. Register to win a complete family entertainment system valued at $16,000. Prize package includes a new sofa, easy chair, and entertainment wall system with a big screen TV, DVD player, VCR, and CD player. No purchase necessary. See store for details. Happy holidays from Discount Drug Mart.
Sparkle of your eyes tells me love will shine forever like the stars and moon and sky. We found our place together and every day we find I'll be yours and you'll be mine. Let love lead the way. Every kiss begins with K.
Let Kay Jewelers help you make this Christmas one she will remember forever. Kay's created ruby, emerald, or sapphire rings accented with a quarter carat of stunning diamonds are now just $99.95 each. Every Kay diamond is hand-selected for exceptional beauty. This Christmas, show her your love will shine forever with an extraordinary diamond and created ruby, emerald, or sapphire ring. Just $99.95 each from Kay Jewelers.
Let love lead the way. Every kiss begins with K.
Shop K Jewelers 12 convenient locations. Free financing for 1 year available. Minimum purchase and minimum monthly payments required.
Caller 11 now at 216-578-1111 with a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video and is qualified for the
Toys for Boys
Grand Prize. WTAM 1100.
Mark is considering a career involving electronics. Rachel is interested in a new career involving computer-aided drafting, and they're eager to get started now. The first step for both? Calling 1-800-521-0200 for a brochure on the programs to study at ITT Technical Institute. An education at ITT Tech can help graduates begin to develop the knowledge and skills to pursue a new career in a technological field. ITT Tech programs offer both classroom theory and applied learning in a practical lab environment. Financial aid is available to those who qualify. And with most programs offered mornings, afternoons, or evenings, Mark and Rachel can keep their current jobs while they prepare for their new careers in electronics and computer-aided drafting. So why not consider joining Mark and Rachel and more than 50,000 ITT Tech graduates nationwide since 1990? For an ITT Tech brochure and the campus nearest you, call 1-800-521-0200. That's 1-800-521-0200.
Rick Gilmore on News Radio WTAM 1100.
Joe Lieberman, what happened to your values? Joe Lieberman, how did you lose your values? Does counting votes at any cost make up for all your ethics lost? Joe Lieberman, we wish you had your values. I got an email at Gilly@WTAM.com from Fred in Cleveland Heights. He said, I told you, you can't sing. Well, I didn't say I could sing. I didn't say I was very good. I do a sort of a halfway decent cheap Frank Sinatra imitation. She gets too hungry for dinner at 8. I offered an hors d'oeuvre. She took the whole plate. I told her don't swim till after an hour she ate. That's how the lady, she got cramps. Yeah, there you go. I can be Buddy Gecko, the lounge lizard's lounge lizard. Rob in Louisville, you're on the big one.
Hey, Rick, thanks for taking my call.
More than welcome.
Hey, I'm going to just make a quick comment here, and then I'll hang up and listen for your response. But I believe that the media is totally responsible for what's happened with this election. Had they not originally called the state of Florida for Gore, retracted, and then gone back and said it was for Bush, we never would have had this, because it would have just run its course and nobody would have ever questioned it.
I think you're probably right. In fact, even Peter Jennings and Tom Brokaw, NBC News, were on TV, on the evening news, on both of their, on NBC and ABC, and they were saying, guess what? Kind of got, Tom Brokaw, I guess, would have said it this way. Looks like we have egg on our face this time. Perhaps we should not have called Florida for Bush before, then Gore and Bush. And, you think I have liquid L's? Tom Brokaw, he makes $7 million a year. It's liquid L's. And ABC had Peter Jennings, and I always like to hear him say Nicaragua, because he'd always say Nicaragua. Did you know that Peter Jennings, I was told he dropped out of high school, and he got that job just by perfect elocution and all that sort of thing, and lots of hard work. But they both collectively said, yes, we should not have done that. And I don't even think, they've been taking these exit polls and putting them on TV since 1980, so as long as I've been voting, they've had exit polls. I don't even think they should be showing the exit polls on TV. I don't think that people should be driving around or sitting in their homes in California thinking, well, should I go vote for the winner? Or should I go vote for a loser? Maybe I'll change my mind in midstream here. Maybe I was going to vote for Bush, but now I'll vote for Gore because he's ahead, and I don't want to vote for a loser. That's a possibility, so I don't even think that these exit polls should be considered whatsoever. Sandy, you're on the air.
Hi, I'm from Canton, Ohio. And I was saying this election has got to be a wake-up call to all of the Congress and everyone that we got to be in the center, that the Jesse Jacksons and the far left and the far right of both parties are not going to have a mandate, and that the media, everyone has got to come to the center. We're lucky in Ohio. We have Regula, who was endorsed by the Urban League, a Republican. We have, Trafficant. We have George Voinovich. We've got centralists in Ohio. We are very lucky. But, the Maxine Waters, the Tom DeLays, These people are going to be shut out, and thank God. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Now, Jim Trafficant was arguing. He said, gee, you know, he says, the Democrats in Ohio just aren't strong like they used to be. Well, I think, I do believe with certainty that you carried Cuyahoga County. But I saw those maps of the counties, and it looked to me like I believe, one, maybe 2 counties in Ohio out of 88 voted Democratic. The rest of them all red. It used to be down by Cincinnati, that area, you would see red counties. And then predominantly everything above Columbus seemed pretty Democratic. And now it's mostly red. In fact, the whole country, mostly red. Who do you blame for that? I can think of a name. I think it's Bill Clinton. I think a lot of people, maybe I'm wrong. Tell me, I'd like to hear from somebody next hour. I'd like to hear from as many as possible next hour that did not go out and vote this time, and why. Then I'd like to know, if you're a registered Democrat or a registered Republican, why did you not vote? Normally I say, well, if you did not vote, you have no right to complain. Well, now I'm asking for your voice. If you did not vote, I want to know why. Was it just that you looked at the candidates and you said, boy, I can't get behind either one of these people? Or was it because of Bill Clinton? I suspect that a lot of folks might be thinking, because of the last 8 years, maybe if you're a Democrat, you felt disenfranchised, not during the voting process, but by your party, who left you behind and left you to twist in the wind and look like a fool and a moron, and all you could do was throw around in your coworkers' faces, guess what? But the economy's good. But the economy's good. Bill did that. Bill made the economy good. How about Alan Greenspan? He made the economy good and will continue to do so in the future. God, I hope people get out next time and vote. Jeez, get out and vote.
Cleveland's only news radio.
Your official weather station.
The home of the Indians, Cavaliers, and Browns fans. This is the big one. Now, continuing coverage on News Radio, WTAM 1100, Cleveland.
It's the 11th hour in the presidential vote for 2000. Good evening. I'm Cliff Bakley. This is the 11 o'clock report on News Radio, WTAM 1100. Details coming up. Channel 3 weather, here's Marshall McPeak.
A little rain-snow mix to start the evening and maybe some snow before it's over. The cold low at 28.
Currently 33 degrees at your official weather station, News Radio, WTAM 1100.
The 2000 vote. Our in-depth team coverage continues right now.
Bush and Gore attorneys prep for a second historic U.S. Supreme Court hearing tomorrow morning. ABC's Andy Field in Washington.
The Gore legal team faces its toughest challenge. The majority, 5 out of 4 justices, already said they think Governor Bush may have had good reason to stop the recount. Now Gore's lawyers must convince them otherwise. Even if the vice president wins this last Supreme Court fight, there may not be enough time left to actually count contested ballots. And with this week's deadline to select electors, Florida lawmakers may simply ignore the courts and decide to okay the Bush electors without another recount.
But students like Mark McCullough of the University of Florida in Tallahassee urge Florida lawmakers to stay out of it.
Suddenly, the Florida legislature has a chance to show that, yes, all the time that people have told us, please go out and vote. You guys make a difference. Your age group makes a difference. Now, here's the test to see, will they actually follow through on the word, or are they going to take our votes and disregard them?
I'm Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
A Chardon boy will celebrate his 2nd birthday this month, and as our Sandy Hayes Flynn reports in team coverage, his family is very grateful for this chance.
April Batteri's worst fear was realized last weekend. When she returned to the basement where her son was playing, he was nowhere to be found.
I was down there with the kids the entire time, except for that little period where I thought I was just throwing a diaper away. It ended up being a little longer, and got the Kool-Aid for the kids, and it just didn't cross my mind that there was a danger to it.
It being the sump pump that swallowed little Andrew. The boy, who will turn 2 later this month, is now home from the hospital after a week-long stay that included a ventilator and countless tubes. Sandy Hayes Flynn, News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Could Manny Ramirez be back for more seasons in right field? Indians beat reporter Mark Schwab asked John Hart if he has any reason to be optimistic that Manny will be back with the Tribe.
No, not at this stage. I don't. I don't see the opening that would make this a reality. I think this is one of several that we're still talking about, and but I don't see anything that's out there that gives me, a whole lot of hope right now.
That said, Schwab says Hart later called Manny's agent, Jeff Morad, and the two are back talking again. If you're planning to fly into or out of or through Chicago tomorrow, listen up. A winter storm warning has prompted United Airlines to cancel about 50% of tomorrow's flight schedule at O'Hare, and American Airlines began canceling flights in and out of O'Hare late tonight in anticipation of that storm that could dump up to 8 inches of snow in Chicago. There was a holiday party for foster kids today, and our Levon Putney stopped by and found out they were having a grand time.
A group of kids who can't wait to get inside the IX Center and join hundreds of foster children in holiday heaven. Games, free food, and good rides, like the mini roller coaster called the Dragon Wagon. The local NAACP hosted the event, the first annual one, and with the help of the Department of Children and Family Services, the IX Center, and other supporters, a holiday festival in the spirit of giving some 6,000 local foster kids a chance to just be kids. Levon Putney, News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Channel 3 weather is next. It's 11:04 at News Radio, WTAM 1100.
2020 sports. The Eagles down the Browns. 35-24 at the stadium Sunday. Philly now 10-5, heading on to the playoffs, led by quarterback Donovan McNabb. He had a career day, 390 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. The Browns used 3 different quarterbacks, Doug Peterson, Kevin Johnson, and Dennis Northcutt. Browns host the playoff-bound Titans next Sunday at 1 at the stadium. Tennessee ripped Cincinnati 35-3 Sunday. Ken Caminiti gets a 2-year deal with the Texas Rangers. He won't be with the Tribe in 2001. I'm Ted DeLuca, News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Oh, hello?
Hi, Frank. It's Steve.
Steve?
Yeah, Steve. Valencia Street, Steve?
Steve. Morris?
Yeah. Hey, listen, I was wondering if the appraisal was received yet.
Mr. Morris, it's 2 in the morning.
Huh? Oh, yeah, I know. I couldn't sleep. Karen and I are so excited. So, what's the deal with the lender? Have they reviewed my loan package yet?
It's 2 on Sunday morning.
You sound just like my architect. He said the exact same thing not 2 minutes ago.
Unlike traditional lenders, eLoan lets you track the status of your loan 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And now we can help you get a car loan, too. eLoan, for a car or a home. A better way to get a loan. Call us at 1-888-ELOAN22 or visit us at eloan.com.
Hey, open up, Frank. I know you're in there. Come on, I just got one more question.
eLoan is an equal housing lender and not currently licensed in every state. This advertisement should not be construed as a solicitation of loans in any state in which eLoan is not licensed. Please check our website for a current list of licenses.
Live Doppler radar. Accurate, in-depth teen winter storm coverage. Cleveland's official weather station. News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Channel 3 weather. Here's Marshall McPeak.
A cold front slowly working through the area is kicking off all kinds of precipitation. It started in the afternoon. Now we're looking at some rain-snow mix scattered around the area. We'll have a cold low down to about 28 degrees tonight. Then for your Monday, look for some of the snow from overnight to turn to rain during the day and back to snow again in the evening. The high 38.
At your official weather station, clouds and fog and 33 degrees. I'm Cliff Bakley on Cleveland's only News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Continuing coverage coming up at the bottom of the hour. Bulletins at 1. News Radio, WTAM 1100.
You put your stylus in, you put your stylus out. You put your stylus in and you punch Buchanan out. You do the Palm Beach pokey and you turn the count around. That's what it's all about. You put the Gore votes in, you put the Bush votes out. You put the Gore votes in and you want another count. You do the Palm Beach pokey and you turn the count around. That's what it's all about. You bring the lawyers in, you drag the whole thing out. You bring the lawyers in and you put it all in doubt. You do the Palm Beach pokey and you turn the count around. That's what it's all about. You let your judges spin, you let your pundits spout. You let your judges spin and your people whine and pout. You do the Palm Beach pokey and you turn the count around. That's what it's all about. You do the Palm Beach pokey. You do the Palm Beach pokey. You do the Palm Beach pokey. And that's what it's all about. I think tomorrow is the day. Lawyers for Al Gore and George W. Bush filed briefs outlining their cases to be argued tomorrow before the U.S. Supreme Court. The High Court issued an order Saturday halting hand recounts of more than 40,000 ballots statewide in Florida. Al Gore, of course, wants the count resumed, arguing that the rights of voters to have their ballots counted dwarfs any due process claim asserted here. Bush counters that a hand recount is unreliable because election officials in different Florida counties use different standards for determining whether a vote is valid. Do you want it to be over tomorrow? I requested I'd like to hear from someone this hour, 216-578-1100 or 888-723-WTAM. I'd like to hear from somebody who did not vote and why. And I think when we talk about third parties, I think we have a hard enough time trying to find two qualified people to head up the two-party system. Now, of course, I hope George W. Bush wins, but his political experience is just being governor of Texas. Of course, Bill Clinton's experience was being governor of Arkansas, who someone claimed was the armpit of the South. Then the next thing you know, I got an email from someone in Arkansas, and they said, Rick, love the show, listen to you all the time. And I thought, gee, maybe I should feel bad for saying that about Arkansas. I've not been there, but I've known folks that have, and some folks say, well, it's lovely as far as a visit goes, but you really wouldn't want to live there. It's just not the kind of thing that you'd want to, because there's nothing to do. I've said before, I used to get these real estate books, Stroud Realty. You'd always wonder, gee, how come these houses are so cheap down there in Missouri? Well, you look around, what is there to do for a living? I'll ask Al Gore.
I got some of the details wrong, and I'm sorry about that. And promise you that I will try not to, and hard.
What the hell does that mean?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone is now dumber for having listened to it. May God have mercy on your soul.
About 14,000 of the much-traveled ballots from Miami-Dade and Palm Beach counties nearly took another trip. This time to Washington, D.C., where the U.S. Supreme Court will hear oral arguments in the Florida recount case tomorrow. The Florida Supreme Court had considered sending disputed ballots there, but the U.S. Supreme Court directed that they remain in Tallahassee. I just kept waiting for Al Gore to say something like this.
I'm a hypocrite. I ask for sincerity and I lie. I denounce the system as I embrace it. I want money and power and prestige. I want ratings and success. I don't give a damn about you or the world. That's the truth.
But I didn't hear that. Tomorrow could be the day. I predict by 5 p.m. tomorrow, we will know who's going to be the next president of the United States. If I'm wrong, I'll have egg on my face, but the magic 8 ball said so. Looked it over, it said it's decidedly so. Seldom is the magic 8 ball wrong. Perhaps if it's not correct, I'll have to send it in for a tune-up. Have it checked out. But it's been right so far. Mike and Berea, talk to us.
Hi there, Rick.
Howdy.
Just let me bring up a couple of points. Regarding the candidates, you wonder how we got these two candidates? Think about it. Look at the idiots we have out there that actually put these people in that position during the primary. What does that say about us? Secondly, in another 30 years, we won't have to worry about any of this. Because if you look at the demographics, half voted for Democrat, half voted Republican. Well, if you take a look at the Democrats, most of them usually have 5, 6, 7 kids. And they're usually high school or less, blue collar. And if you look at Republican, they're better educated and they have 1.2 kids. So, hey, by numbers, it's just a matter of time.
Just a matter of time before it's all Democrats?
That's right.
Well,
you don't have to worry about third parties or nothing.
Do you vote the same way your parents voted?
No, I voted Republican. I'd like to think for myself.
I'm a registered Democrat. My parents are registered Democrat, and that's just how they vote.
Let me rephrase that. I'm a recovering Democrat. I did vote Democrat back in the past.
I am a recovering Democrat as well. However, I am still a registered Democrat. I need to change that registration. I felt embarrassed. We went to, there was a party down at the Hannah for the Republican Party, for their holiday party. Mm-hmm. And I'm standing around in there, and my fiance says to me, you signed the wrong list. I go, what do you mean? She says, you signed the elected officials list. when we walked in. I said, oops, well, okay. And a judge walked up to me and said, you're not an elected official. What are you doing here? And I thought to myself, geez, I'm not even a registered Republican. What am I doing here? But I did not vote Democrat.
Welcome to the party anyway.
The party was a good party. It was Hickerson's at the Hannah, and it was a fun time. The governor was there, and he spoke, and rally the troops, that sort of thing. And it was something that I had never been privy to before, and I thought, this is interesting. And I had someone call and invite me to see Al Gore speak during the election, and I thought, no, I don't want to.
What a thrill.
Yeah, and I can't imagine him being offered a radio program. What would Al Gore have to say?
Well, he'll set a new record for longevity, about 3 minutes before they pull the plug.
Yeah, it'll last less than Cato Kalin.
Cato Kalin was a genius compared to Al Gore.
I guess they'll take anybody in L.A. as talk show hosts, won't they? They took Cato Kalin.
It is L.A. after all, right?
That's California. What ain't fruits and nuts is flakes. Mike, you make a good point. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, yeah. Well, the two-party system, we can't pick viable candidates the way it is. John, talk to us.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that third-party system. I'm all for a third-party system, but the candidates I've seen over the years, a lot to be desired.
Oh, I know, and I look at them and I think people have to hold their nose and vote, and it should not be that way. You would think we'd have enough qualified people, but we do not.
I agree.
Who would we have picked if we hadn't picked Al Gore? And, I mean, let's not just look at who didn't make it through the primary process. The folks that I would like to have run won't run. Colin Powell wouldn't run. John McCain didn't make it through the process. I think he should be right where he's at. I think he should be in the Senate, and that's a good place for him.
That's a good place, yeah.
But, and I know why Colin Powell wouldn't run, because his wife said she was afraid he was going to get killed.
Well, she may have a point there.
I'd like to think that we've advanced ourselves as a nation beyond that, but you never know.
I kind of doubt that right now.
Well, I think Colin Powell will be in George W. Bush's cabinet. I think that will happen if George W. Bush is president. And I've got a gut, John. I got a gut that tomorrow's the day and it's going to be over with.
I hope so, because this Al Gore's turned into an embarrassment to this country
and to his party.
Sure, I'm a registered Democrat, but I have no problem voting for a Republican if I think he's going to be a better elected official.
That's what I did this time.
And the only third-party candidate that I ever really showed any interest in was Ross Perot, and he kind of made me mad when he dropped out and came back in.
Boy, John, you and I are cut from the same cloth. I voted for him, but I knew that was the kiss of death.
But now that I look back on it, I think maybe him coming back into the process like he did, all it did was took votes away from George Bush Sr. and gave the election to Clinton.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, and I think if it turns out as close as it is this time, those that voted for Ralph Nader took away votes from Al Gore.
Yep, I agree.
And so pat Ralph Nader on the back the next time you see him, if you ever do see him. But be careful, because he's always looking over his shoulder, because he thinks GM's still out to get him because of that Corvair thing. All right?
All right, thanks for listening.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for calling. 'Twas the night before Christmas, 2001, and the recounts in Florida still are not done. Some chads are still hanging on the ballots with care, while some of them fall on the floor on the chairs. Al Gore was nestled all snug in his bed, while visions of the presidency danced in his head. With all of the lawsuits, he has not given up yet. He'll continue this mess until his needs are met. The hand ballot counters, now numb to the core, have begged for a break after count 94. More rapid than Eagles, Gore's lawyers they came. You will not stop the count until Gore wins this game. So back to the tables, hold those cards to the light. Keep counting and counting till our man wins this fight. Then all of a sudden there rose such a clatter, the people of America are now getting madder. Please stop this, Al Gore, the people began. Please stop this and accept your loss like a man. But we heard him exclaim in a voice reeked with greed, to hell with you all, I will never concede. Well, yes, you will, eventually. Yes, you will, one way or another. I don't see it. I just don't see it happening, man. Channel 3 weather from Marshall McPeak. Tonight, rain and snow, low 28. Tomorrow, that rain will change over to snow at night with a high of 38. Currently, 33 in Cleveland, 33. You're on the line. Be patient. I'll get to you.
Just think, in 20 years or so, you'll tell your children and grandchildren about one of the closest elections ever. Because you heard it on News Radio, WTAM 1100.
Imagine yourself serving as a Peace Corps volunteer in one of 80 countries around the world.
I wanted adventure. I wanted to go out, learn about a new culture, learn a new language, and bring it back to the United States.
You know for sure for 2 years, it's going to be like nothing you've ever experienced.
I joined the Peace Corps because I think Peace Corps as a development organization is one of the best in the world.
My dream of becoming a physician, if anything, has become enhanced. The best part of my experience here, I think, as a volunteer is that I found a second family.
I think one of the best things you can do with your time, it's a great program where you can come and help people out. I'm excited about it.
There's a role for you in Peace Corps. It never really feels like work. You love what you're going through. You're helping people, you're working in the community, and people really appreciate you so much for every little bitty thing that you do.
It's fun.
Make a difference in the Peace Corps. Visit our website or call 800-424-8580. It's the toughest job you'll ever love.
Hey, hello.
Joe?
Hey, what's up, guy?
Joe, I got abducted.
What kind of abducted?
Aliens, man, in the mothership, the whole enchilada.
Hey, it happens.
They cloned me, man.
They will do that.
They've messed with my molecular structure and slid me through some wormhole in space-time.
Whoa, never heard of that one before.
Listen, man, it gets worse. They've reconfigured my DNA. I'm part pigeon now.
Oh, the whole 9 yards, huh?
I'm flying around in some wacky dimension, dive-bombing people's windshields. I'm not even sure who's calling you, man, me or the clone.
Wow. When exactly did this happen?
Right after breakfast.
What? You had breakfast?
Yeah, new Raisin Bran Crunch. It's good.
You had breakfast? You never have breakfast.
Raisin Bran Crunch. I like it.
You're eating breakfast now? This is too weird.
You'd better believe it. New Kellogg's Raisin Bran Crunch cereal. So good, it's bringing everyone back to breakfast. Breakfast is back.
New windows. You know you need them. Your energy bills are high, and your home isn't comfortable when your windows are drafty, leaky, and noisy. So who can you count on for energy-efficient windows at a fair price? Sears Home Central. Just call 1-800-225-5991 for a free in-home consultation and estimate. Sears vinyl frame windows guide smoothly and tilt in for easy cleaning. The multi-pane glass may help reduce your energy costs. And with Sears, the work will be done right, on time, and on budget. And Sears makes getting your new windows simple and affordable. Call 1-800-225-5991 for a free in-home estimate. Not available in all areas. Ask your representative for written warranty. Services and materials provided by a Sears authorized contractor. Name and license numbers available on request. You know you need them, so call now for Sears replacement windows. 1-800-225-5991. That's 1-800-225-5991.
Are you an inventor, or do you know an inventor who would like a free inventor's kit? Call Invention Submission Corporation, one of America's largest invention service organizations, at 1-888-711-IDEA and learn how to get your free inventor's information. Call 1-888-711-IDEA. You'll learn how to patent your idea and submit it to industry. Call 1-888-711-IDEA. That's 1-888-711-IDEA.
The typical lake effect morning in greater Cleveland.
Get caught off guard when snowstorms strike northeast Ohio.
It's really snowing.
Be prepared.
Winter weather advisory in effect.
Get informed with your official weather station. WTAM 1100. From WTAM 1100 Cleveland, Rick Gilmour.
Perhaps Mulder and Scully can get to the bottom of the election. Who will be the next president? I think it's going to be George W. I hope we find out tomorrow. Supreme Court hearing oral arguments. Hopefully they'll end the nonsense. As you're probably aware, if voting results in Florida stand, George W. Bush would be our next president. That'll have the catastrophic results in our vital, no indispensable entertainment industry. Barbara Streisand, Martin Sheen, Susan Sarandon, Whoopi Goldberg, Alec Baldwin, along many others, have sworn to leave the country. Rob Hagel, my board operator, he's sworn to leave the country if George W. Bush is elected president. No. Rob, turn on your microphone. What were you going to say? I thought you
just waving goodbye to him.
Oh, I see. I thought you were wanting me to count you among them. I was thinking, you don't even care for politics at all. This is where you can help. We need volunteers to help pack and load moving vans and airfare for these irreplaceable national treasures so they can relocate before they change their minds. For the cost of a small SUV, you can sponsor one of these celebrities and their unfortunate relocation. You'll know that your efforts are helping when you receive postcards, letters, and pictures from your chosen refugee as they learn to become a useful citizen in the third world country of their choosing. Won't you help? It costs so little, but it means so much. Call 1-800-DEPORT-A-LIB. Operators are standing by. All major credit cards are accepted. God, guns, and guts made America. We must keep all three. Seamus.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good. Says here on the big board you did not vote.
No, I didn't.
Are you registered to vote?
Yes, I am.
And why did you make that decision?
I don't support organized crime.
And you think either party is neither one of them can be thought of as the lesser of two evils even?
Well, shouldn't you vote for the best man and not the lesser of two evils?
Well, that gets into a gray area where you say, gee, people keep saying that I should vote, but then I don't like either one of them. Do I vote for like you said, do I vote for the lesser of two evils? I voted for the guy who I thought was not the liar. I thought I've seen so many proven lies of Al Gore, and he's been hanging around with Bill Clinton for so long, I'm not going to take any chances.
Well, I can agree with you on that, okay? I helped invent the internet also.
I invented pants.
I saw that commercial. I loved it.
And when I looked at George W., I thought, well, is he the most experienced man for the job? Well, he's got experience like Bill Clinton had experience, except that it's experience running Texas, not Arkansas, and Texas is doing okay. He didn't screw up Texas, so I guess I trusted him.
You have to admit the people that are surrounding him are good people.
Absolutely.
Right?
Cheney, Powell, Schwarzkopf maybe, Jim Baker. I mean, there are a lot of people there that know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, no, I'll admit that, but it's just, I think they could have put a better person in that place.
Don't you notice that we never once saw Al Gore talk about his transition team or who he would have in his cabinet? We just don't even know, do we? Did he mention it and I missed it? Did I blink?
I don't know if you did, I did at the same time.
Yeah, because I don't remember hearing anything about that at all. And it's as if they're just fighting just to fight the fight, just so they can say afterwards, well, you know what, we should have won. And that doesn't do anything but, there we go, divide people again, does it?
Even more. It'll be a 4-year war. You know, it'll be partisan politics like you've never seen before after that.
I've been handed a note. Was that Jim Baker of the Jim and Tammy Faye Baker? No, that's not the same Jim Baker. What's he doing now? Who knows? Tammy Faye is still putting on her makeup with a trowel, and she has a new last name.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't she married to somebody else? And I think Jim's in prison married to somebody else, too.
I think so.
But, no, but, I mean, all I got to say to Al Gore, I mean, I know he ain't listening, but if somebody knows him and can relay the messages, you know, I work with a lot of young kids who are already disillusioned with the system, and all he's doing is giving them more reason not to believe in our government.
And what I'm looking forward to, Seamus, I should say, I think that if nothing else, after January 20th, we should hear frightfully little about Bill Clinton, and that's what I'm thinking, and that's what I'm hoping.
And hopefully after all this, we will never hear about Al Gore again either.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow, won't we? I hope it's tomorrow. Hi, Shirley.
Yes. Hello?
You're on the air.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
I am so happy when I turn on WTAM and I hear your voice.
Why, thanks.
Because I hear other people, but I love it when I hear your voice. You remind me so much of Gary D. You're a big hot stud.
Well, that's a compliment, ma'am.
And I am a Democrat. I voted Democrat for 40 years, and I will continue to vote Democrat. And I just want to say one thing. If you and Trivasana were competing for a job on your station, would you do everything in your power to get that job?
Well, within reason, I wouldn't try and go out of my way to try and influence the bosses. I wouldn't try and peddle them lunch or something and say, gee, I really think you ought to hire me. I'm one of these guys that likes to be hired on the merit of my work.
Well, I believe that that's exactly the way it is with Al Gore. He's, 25 years he's been in politics working to get to someplace like this, and all of a sudden there's somebody comes in because his dad was president. We want him for president.
That's not the reasoning at all why I voted for George W. Bush. And if the votes are certified, the votes are certified, and that's that. Right. That's what bothers me is he's got 25 years of experience in government, And yet he comes forward and says, we need to fix the problems of the last 8 years. Well, wait a minute. We've had 8 years to fix those problems. Why now? Why you, Al Gore, who is he's not as good a politician as Bill Clinton? Why do we think that he'll get anything done?
Well, because I feel he wasn't in a position to do anything. All he was a figurehead for vice president.
And so now you think all of a sudden, give the reins to the man who can really get things done.
No, I wanted him to have it in the first place.
Would you ever vote for a Republican?
Oh, I have.
For president?
Not for president.
So you wouldn't vote for a Republican for president, no matter how good they were?
If it was somebody I liked, yes.
But
yes, I would.
Have you ever voted you've never voted for anyone for president that was Republican?
Never.
Never. Okay, just wanted to check. Thank you very much. Never, ever, ever. And you know what? I got dollars to donuts that says that ain't going to change. Because she qualified the statement by saying, if she could find someone she likes, then chances are she wouldn't be able to find anyone she likes, ever, 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 and that's the reason. Hey, you know, there's something kind of neat going on. Santa Slider. They got Slider dressed up in a Santa suit. Santa Slider will be making appearances. All you have to do is show up at one of the different Indians team shops now through Christmas, and you can have a photo taken with Santa Slider free with any purchase at the team shop during Slider's appearance. The next appearance will be Saturday the 16th from noon to 2 at Richmond Town Square. That's pretty cool. There's lots of interesting Indian stuff. I'd like to get one of those jackets, you know, the ones that look like the 1948 jackets. I have so many jackets that I just never get around to. I wait till something wears out. Rob, you've seen my leather jacket, haven't you? There's no pockets left in it. I lose things inside the coat because I'm too cheap to go out and buy one. If I did go out and buy one, I could get my picture taken with Slider.
Cleveland's only news radio. Your official weather station. The home of the Indians, Cavaliers, and Browns fans. This is the big one. Now, continuing coverage on News Radio, WTAM 1100, Cleveland.
'Twas the night before the Supreme Court hearing, and all through the court, the rustle of papers filed as briefs. Good evening, I'm Cliff Bakley, and this is the 1130 report on News Radio, WTAM 1100. Details coming up. Channel 3 weather, here's Marshall McPeak.
We'll start with a little rain tonight. That's going to turn into snow eventually, the low down to 28.
Currently 33 degrees at your official weather station, News Radio, WTAM 1100. The briefs have been filed. Now it's just a waiting game till tomorrow morning's make or break hearing before the U.S. Supreme Court. Team coverage from ABC's Andy Field.
Bush and Gore lawyers rushed past demonstrators singing spirituals on the Supreme Court steps. The Bush team filed a 50-page brief claiming the Florida Supreme Court not only violated the Constitution and federal law, but that its recount order guarantees no one can trust the final tally. The Gore brief claims voters have the right to have all their ballots counted. The showdown begins 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
Big party at the IX Center today for hundreds, if not thousands, of foster kids. County Commissioner Tim McCormick says it might be their only party this holiday season.
Because of turmoil within families, this is a wonderful innovation to give them one afternoon.
There were rides, games, presents, and, of course, Santa. A big winter storm zeroing in on Chicago. As much as 8 inches of snow expected. Already United and American Airlines are canceling many of their flights into and out of O'Hare tomorrow. That will also have a ripple effect on flights to other destinations as well as Cleveland. Good weather forecast for tomorrow's early evening landing of the Space Shuttle Endeavour. The Browns livened up the crowd by using wide receivers Kevin Johnson and Dennis Northcutt at quarterback, but in the end it was the Eagles 35 and the Browns 24. I'm Cliff Bakley on Cleveland's only news radio, WTAM 1100.
Continuing coverage coming up at the top of the hour. Bulletins at 1. News Radio, WTAM 1100.
We're taking your calls at 1-800-CONSTIPATION.
I feel like I've had too many helpings of my sister-in-law's stuffed potato dumplings.
I feel like a hippopotamus in a zoo.
They're describing how bloating constipation makes them feel. And if you sometimes feel the same when you're constipated, FiberCon is for you. FiberCon's natural action of fiber relieves bloating constipation. And FiberCon caplets are more convenient than fiber powders you have to mix.
FiberCon made me feel like myself again.
Be regular. Be yourself. It's easy with FiberCon. Use only as directed.
Kids ask a lot of questions. Some you shouldn't have to answer.
Mommy, what does
mean?
That's why at Mayberry USA, we provide an internet service for the whole family. You'll find all your online favorites without the pornography found with other internet service providers. Of course, you'll still get questions.
Mommy, would investing in this IPO at $3.75 a share be a wise investment?
Mayberry USA. Find us at www.mbusa.net or call 1-877-355-8755 for a free CD-ROM.
I'd rather play basketball. Learn how to change the tire. Surf the web.
The #1 deterrent to drug abuse among kids isn't the police.
Ice cream, anyone?
Watch my dad make a total fool of himself talking about music.
It isn't prisons.
Make eco sculptures.
The #1 deterrent to drug abuse is parents. And parents can fight drug abuse in any number of small personal ways every day. For more, call 800-788-2800 or visit theantidrug.com. Paid for by ONDCP.
I mean, I'm the kind of guy that used to I'd take a pair of pliers and heat up a quarter and throw it to a homeless person.
That's funny. Now that is funny.
Mark is considering a career involving electronics. Rachel is interested in a new career involving computer-aided drafting, and they're eager to get started now. The first step for both? Calling 1-800-521-0200 for a brochure on the programs to study at ITT Technical Institute. An education at ITT Tech can help graduates begin to develop the knowledge and skills to pursue a new career in a technological field. ITT Tech programs offer both classroom theory and applied learning in a practical lab environment. Financial aid is available to those who qualify. And with most programs offered mornings, afternoons, or evenings, Mark and Rachel can keep their current jobs while they prepare for their new careers in electronics and computer-aided drafting. So why not consider joining Mark and Rachel and more than 50,000 ITT Tech graduates nationwide since 1990? For an ITT Tech brochure and the campus nearest you, call 1-800-521-0200. That's 1-800-521-0200.
History in the making. Hear it live. Continuing in-depth team coverage of the 2000 votes on News Radio, WTAM 1100.
From WTAM 1100 Cleveland, Rick Gilmour.
One of the criteria that I think is important is but very unclear. I think we should have come in much quicker.
What? Huh? I think you should have conceded much more quickly. In the future, I think I've got a way to remedy this. I think what we should do is, if we get down to it being this close between the candidates, we'll just have them show up on the White House steps and unzip their flies, and whoever's got the larger package wins. How about that? Like LBJ said once. I was reading a book called Lives of the Great. I kid you not. LBJ unzipped his fly and laid his penis on the cabinet room table, looked at everyone in the room and said, "I'll tell you one thing, the Viet Cong will never get this," and pointed to it. He was kind of a nut. Did you ever hear about Pierre Salinger? Pierre Salinger was White House spokesman or some such thing. And they were eating a luncheon. And he looked down and he says, "Pierre, you're not eating your beans." And Pierre Salinger, press secretary, that's what he was, because he was press secretary under Kennedy. And he says, "I happen not to like those particular kinds of beans, Mr. President." To which LBJ stood up and thundered back, "Pierre, eat your beans." And Pierre Salinger ate every last bean on his plate, and later that afternoon tendered his resignation. Lives of the Great, LBJ, picked up his dogs by the ears. He named them in fine fashion, him and her. The last image I remember of LBJ was driving across his ranch in a Lincoln Continental with a beer in one hand, doing 100 miles an hour in a brand new Lincoln Continental. Now that's a man. Got a brand new Lincoln Continental. He was president of the United States, and he's pushing 70 and doing 100 mile an hour across his ranch with a beer in his hand. In fact, there is a place called Mrs. Orcutt's Driveway in Texas where car and driver would go to test cars that do 200 and some miles an hour. Mrs. Orcutt was a friend of the Johnson family, and when the highway went through, it sort of cut her off by miles. And LBJ somehow had the state of Texas pay for a driveway for Mrs. Orcutt from the road all the way to her ranch, and it's something like 5 miles long, and it's maintained, I believe, to this day as some sort of route by the state of Texas. And it's perfect. It's perfect. It's paved perfectly. And car and driver wouldn't say where it was because they didn't want to spoil the fun. And they go take these cars and race them up and down Mrs. Orcutt's driveway because it was paid for by osmosis, by LBJ and the state of Texas. He just seemed like a cool guy. I don't know. Other than that, we're moving on. Hey, Mike the Repo Man.
Hey, how you doing, Rick?
Great.
This is Rick Gilmore. It must be Sunday night.
It is Sunday night.
Yes, it is.
And tomorrow's Monday, and the Supreme Court will hear oral arguments.
Yes, I hope this is all done with by then.
Hope it's over with.
You know, I wanted to talk to you about the possible concession speech. I'm sure it's going to be one of the most important speeches in Mr. Gore's life. If you remember, I remember vaguely, I wasn't old enough to actually hear it at the time, but later on I heard about Richard Nixon after, in his concession speech stating that they wouldn't have Nixon to kick around anymore.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've never heard it, but I've heard the Checkers speech.
Mm-hmm.
Little black and white dog named Checkers, and I don't care what anyone says, we're going to eat it. I think he said keep it. I don't know.
But I just wonder what tact Mr. Gore is going to take. Is he going to be, is he going to try to bring the people together behind the new president, or is he going to continue whining all the way down to the very bitter end?
I think that at some point he will make some sort of concession in his speech that America should work together, and then that's going to be about it. He's not going to get too chummy. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to say, and in the future, let's hope that the will of the people is actually heard, something like that. And so
he might bring up the popular vote.
Yeah. Oh, I believe that he will at least drop hints that this election was robbed from him, and in the future this won't happen.
Yeah, I'm real interested to watch it. I think I might even videotape it so I can review it over and over again.
But they've stolen the election. Hey, this guy was supposed to be such an affable guy. He tells jokes, yucking it up in the back of Air Force Two. He's supposed to be so funny. They got these pictures of him in Time magazine and ha 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 with the reporters. Why did not we see any of that personality whatsoever during the debates? He might have gotten more votes.
He just seems so condescending to me.
He's a stiff.
Yeah, well, he's always talking down to everybody.
Did you notice the first time he appeared on the Today Show? I don't know if you saw that. The first time he trotted out Joe Lieberman. I watched him. I saw him do this. He made an effort to try and hide it, but I know that Al Gore is plagued with a sweaty upper lip. And it always has been. You'll see him when he's nervous and speaking. He has a sweaty upper. I don't know what kind of plastic they had to put, some kind of putty on his face to soak that stuff up during the debate so it wouldn't show. But he was introducing Joe Lieberman, and as Joe started to speak, Al reached up and sort of turned his head to the side, and I could tell he was wiping the sweat off of his upper lip because he was aware of that. And, of course, anyone that knows how someone tries to hide something like that, it looks idiotic. I was thinking, well, everybody knows he's got a sweaty upper lip, and there he is trying to wipe it out. Wouldn't he just wipe his face on his shirt sleeve? He could have just turned and wiped his upper lip on his suit. I thought, geez, this
with all that flesh-colored makeup on, though, he'd leave a big stain on his suit.
I know, he'd have to wear a tan suit. Oh, I'll tell you, I'm not so much worried about being embarrassed as far as public speaking and how our country is represented by a guy who's from Texas, because at least he speaks his mind and doesn't seem like he's a liar. I'm embarrassed by a guy who's supposed to be such a funny man and can't even keep my attention.
Yeah. No, did you hear that fundraiser they had in New York where both Gore and Bush went? They were sort of telling. It was
it was a lunch or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I remember one of Bush's jokes. He was talking about a guy named Jim Smith. He said, "We need more leaders like Jim Smith because they're easier for me to pronounce." Yeah, it was funny. He was pretty self-effacing there. It was some of the jokes were really good. But I got to tell you, the quality of your callers are really up there. I'm hard pressed to follow some of the callers that call.
They're an extremely intelligent lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably on the lower end of that group as far as intelligence and the ability to speak. But I enjoy a lot of the callers that do call. They seem to know their subject matter pretty well.
No, my boss called me last week. He was upset because I spent 10 minutes on the phone with someone, and he thought it was boring. And I said, I said, we got our Christmas in November, talk radio did. It's going to end up going back to regular old, let's think of something to talk about. But I told him I've listened to other stations, and I don't think I have to name any cities other than Boston and St. Louis. And I've listened to other 50,000-watt radio stations that are not owned by Clear Channel. And I don't know who tells them what to talk about. Nobody tells me what to talk about but common sense. Common sense is you will talk about this. This is the biggest news story in probably in decades. What else was as big a story as this and dragged on as long as this? Maybe the O.J. trial.
Yeah, and I was getting pretty tired of that by the time that all was done.
And this, I'm not even bored with this. But I've listened to other radio stations and they're talking about I don't even know what. And I listen for. I can listen for maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute, maybe a minute and a half, and all of a sudden, when you go a minute and a half and you gotta punch that button, something's wrong there. They're a 50,000-watt radio station too. If they were owned by us, they'd be telling them. Monica Lewinsky, there was another one that went on for a long time, another big story. But some of these other radio stations, I don't know why they're talking about. And later we'll have Bill on, who's going to tell us how to make cheese. Okay, now, unless you're going to cut the cheese and get a picture of the president doing it, well, then it's not interesting.
Hey, before I let you go, I wanted to say one thing. You had a caller earlier before the break named Shirley, the Democrat.
Yes.
She voted for Democrats for the last 40 years. I want to tell you, Shirley, if you're still listening, the Democratic Party today is not the same party you started with 40 years ago.
Amen.
They have walked away far, far to the left of where they were 40 years ago, and you should really take a better look at them. And well, I'll let you go.
Okay, and thanks for checking in. You are not going to change Shirley's mind. That is why I asked. That's why I asked Shirley if she ever voted, for a Republican for president. Because I was fairly certain that she would say, no, she has not. And I don't think anything's going to change. Nothing's going to change Shirley's mind. I think it's written in cement.
Monday night is Coach's Night on the big one. The Randy Whitman Show hits the air at 7. Then at 8, Browns Prime Time with head coach Chris Palmer. All the balls. WTAM 1100.
Oh, hello?
Hi, Frank. It's Steve.
Steve?
Yeah, Steve. Valencia Street, Steve?
Steve. Morris?
Yeah. Hey, listen, I was wondering if the appraisal was received yet.
Mr. Morris, it's 2 in the morning.
Huh? Oh, yeah, I know. I couldn't sleep. Karen and I are so excited. So, what's the deal with the lender? Have they reviewed my loan package yet?
It's 2 on Sunday morning.
You sound just like my architect. He said the exact same thing not 2 minutes ago.
Unlike traditional lenders, eLoan lets you track the status of your loan 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And now we can help you get a car loan, too. eLoan, for a car or a home. A better way to get a loan. Call us at 1-888-ELOAN22 or visit us at eloan.com.
Hey, open up, Frank. I know you're in there. Come on, I just got one more question.
eLoan is an equal housing lender and not currently licensed in every state. This advertisement should not be construed as a solicitation of loans in any state in which eLoan is not licensed. Please check our website for a current list of licenses.
Imagine yourself serving as a Peace Corps volunteer in one of 80 countries around the world.
I wanted adventure. I wanted to go out, learn about a new culture, learn a new language, and bring it back to the United States.
You know for sure for 2 years, it's going to be like nothing you've ever experienced. I joined the Peace Corps because I think Peace Corps as a development organization is one of the best in the world. My dream of becoming a physician, if anything, has become enhanced. The best part of my experience here, I think, as a volunteer is that I found a second family.
I think one of the best things you can do with your time, it's a great program where you can come and help people out. I'm excited about it.
There's a role for you in Peace Corps. It never really feels like work. You love what you're going through. You're helping people, you're working in the community, and people really appreciate you so much for every little bitty thing that you do.
It's fun.
Make a difference in the Peace Corps. Visit our website or call 800-424-8580. It's the toughest job you'll ever love.
Hey, hello.
Joe?
Hey, what's up, guy?
Joe, I got abducted.
What kind of abducted?
Aliens, man, in the mothership, the whole enchilada.
Hey, it happens.
They cloned me, man.
They will do that.
They've messed with my molecular structure and slid me through some wormhole in space-time.
Whoa, never heard of that one before.
Listen, man, it gets worse. They've reconfigured my DNA. I'm part pigeon now.
Oh, the whole 9 yards, huh?
I'm flying around in some wacky dimension, dive-bombing people's windshields. I'm not even sure who's calling you, man, me or the clone.
Wow. When exactly did this happen?
Right after breakfast.
What? You had breakfast?
Yeah, new Raisin Bran Crunch. It's good.
You had breakfast? You never have breakfast.
Raisin Bran Crunch. I like it.
You're eating breakfast now? This is too weird. You'd better believe it. New Kellogg's Raisin Bran Crunch cereal. So good, it's bringing everyone back to breakfast. Breakfast is back.
We could ask him if he had a picture of a hot piece of ass.
The Major League Baseball winter meeting.
Wheeling and dealing without the safety of a salary cap.
Get in-depth scene coverage with 2020 Sports and Indians beat reporter Mark Schwab live from Dallas.
Total Tribe coverage.
News Radio WTAM 1100. Rick Gilmore on News Radio WTAM 1100.
Dr. Seuss goes to Florida. Can we count them with our nose? Can we count them with our toes? Shall we count them with a band? Shall we count them all by hand? If I do not like the count, I will simply throw them out. I will not let this vote count stand. I do not like them, Al Gore I am. Can we change these numbers here? Can we change them? Calm my fears. What do you mean W has won? This is not fair. This is not fun. Let's count them upside down this time. Let's count until the state is mine. I will not let this vote count stand. I do not like it, Al Gore I am. I'm really ticked. I'm in a snit. You have not heard the last of it. I'll count the ballots one by one and hold each one up to the sun. I'll count, recount, and count some more. You'll grow to hate this little chore, but I will not, cannot let this vote count stand. I do not like it, Al Gore I am. I won't leave office. I'm staying here. I've glued my desk chair to my rear. Tipper, Hillary, and Bubba, too, all telling me that I should sue. We'll recount the Electoral College. We'll find the Electoral College vial, recount the votes until I smile. We do not want this vote to stand. We do not like it, Al Gore I am. How shall we count this ballot box? Let's count it staining in our socks. Shall we count this one in a tree? And who shall count it, you or me? We cannot count enough. We must not stop. We must be tough. I do not want this vote to stand. I do not like it, Al Gore I am. I've counted till my fingers bleed and still cannot fulfill my counting need. I'll count the tiles on the floor. I'll count and count and count some more. And I will not say that I'm done until the counting says I've won. I will not let this vote count stand. I do not like it, Al Gore I am. Now. What's that? What are you trying to say? You think the current count should stay? You do not like my counting scheme? It makes you tense, gives you bad dreams. Foolish people. You're wrong, you'll see. Your only care should be for me. I will not let this vote count stand. I do not like it. And Al Gore I am. And we'll find out tomorrow, the oral arguments before the Supreme Court of the United States, whether or not Al Gore has a snowball's chance in hell. Speaking of snowballs, Channel 3 weather from Marshall McPeak. How'd you like that for a segue? That's like a TV segue. All those TV people do those clever segues. Everything has to be a clever segue. Tonight, rain, snow. A low of 28 tomorrow. That snow will change back to rain and then back to snow with a high of 38. Currently 33 in Cleveland, 33. I get to tear up the weather because I'm going home and you'll listen to Dreamland after the top of the hour news. Keep it tuned right here to Cleveland's only news radio station, WTAM 1100. Listen to Wills, Webster, and Coleman in the morning, not just for the information, of course, that you will get and the entertainment value that you will get, but also for Channel 3 weather and Sky Chief helicopter traffic together on the 10s. And I'll let you know when you're driving in from downtown if we're going to have weird stuff going on out there, like black ice, that kind of thing, or car accidents, or pile-ups, or delays. I did not listen to Rick Abel one time. Only once did I not listen to Rick Abel. I was going to Brunswick, and I was driving down 480 to 71, and I had half heard him. I half heard him say something about 71's backed up from 82 to 480, to the 480 ramp. I just half heard it, didn't pay any attention. Next thing I know, I'm on the 480 ramp, and I'm stopped in traffic. And I'm stopped in traffic so long, I heard him come on again 10 minutes later. It's just 10 minutes later, he's saying, do not get on 71 if you're heading to Strongsville or Brunswick or that area because it's backed up took me 20 minutes to get to Engle Road, which is literally, a quarter mile off of that ramp. And I got off and I took 237 into Brunswick. Well, unfortunately, I took 237 into Brunswick and there was an accident there too, and I ended up stuck in traffic with a stick shift. And my left leg was sore by the time I got there because I'd move 4 feet and push the clutch down. And move 5. You couldn't just leave it neutral because people were moving. They were just moving so slowly. And I heard about that one, too. I'm thinking, geez, oh, Pete, some days it doesn't matter. Some days it just doesn't matter. You just... If I just would have listened, would have helped out a lot. All right, Larry, you're on the big one.
Yeah, how you doing, Rick?
Great.
I've got a couple questions for you. I've been listening to you for a couple of weeks.
No, I never wear women's shoes.
Okay, number one, would you say that the sound economic policies of Ron Reagan saved the country from the failed economic policies of Jimmy Carter?
Yes.
All right, so, and therefore you are saying that a president can be responsible for the economy.
Not the policies of Ronald Reagan, the fact that he appointed Alan Greenspan in charge of the Fed.
Okay, but, I mean, the economy got better while he was president.
Directly due to the fact of who he appointed to head the Fed.
Okay, but you hear it said by many Republicans, maybe you won't admit to it, but Rush Limbaugh and many Republicans will tell you flat out that Ronald Reagan saved us from the high inflation and the failed economic policies of Jimmy Carter.
No, wait a minute. You're trying to weasel me into saying something that I didn't say, and I qualified the statement by following up and saying it was Alan Greenspan. It happened because of Ronald Reagan, but I'm not saying that Ronald Reagan, because no president, I am a registered Democrat who happened to vote Republican this time, no president is directly responsible for all of that. It has to be who they choose to help lead the country.
Okay, and so you give Ronald Reagan credit for picking Mr. Greenspan?
Yes.
All right, and you therefore must give Mr. Clinton credit for retaining Mr. Greenspan. Am I correct?
Oh, I'll give him that, sure.
Okay, so we can say indirectly Bill Clinton is responsible for the economy.
No, because Bill Clinton was just smart enough to know that, and Bill Clinton was just wise enough to know that if he got rid of Alan Greenspan, everything would go down the toilet. And you know what? Clinton's out of here on the 20th. I want to thank Steph for screening the calls. I want to thank Rob for pulling the strings. I want to thank you for calling. I want to thank you for listening. And you know what? Billy Boy will be out of here January 20th. We won't have to hear any of this.